right here's the corner. We're going to be getting some posts in the ground and maybe bring in the foundation for the sawmill and solar kiln part. But right now we're going to start digging some holes and get all the posts for the woodshed in. This is going to be the first hole, and from there we're going to figure out squareness and making sure it faces south for our solar panels and all that. So this is the only post we actually know where it goes, because it's going to be the back left corner.
Yeah.
And it's farthest away from the trees and stuff, so we can get a turnaround area in here. There. It's super nice having this gravel underneath our 3 feet of clay, but it's not the easiest to dig in with the rocks. You run into plenty of pretty big ones that just are a pain to get around and pull them up, but it's super nice being able to have this gravel though.
So this is our giant pile of posts that we've collected, and we kind of need to sort through them and get a bunch of 10-foot long posts cut out of this. And I don't know how many we need, so I don't know. Just one at least.
I think that's upside down.
No, that's the right way. Okay, I just want to fill it back in with the gravel.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the concrete.
That's fine.
Okay, I thought you wanted to do the concrete.
We gotta make sure it's held straight.
Let's put some in there loose. You know, because then you can still kind of shimmy it around.
Put it all over.
Hold on. You gotta get around to that side. Don't put it all in. Okay. That looks good from that angle. That looks good from that angle. I think it's good where it's at, honestly.
Okay.
So we're going to set the 4 corners of the woodshed half of the building. We got our first one set, so now we're going to measure out the 32-foot length for this back corner, and then also try to make sure it's at the right angle. We want the building to face completely south. Okay, so that's the theory, and then we'll do the angling stuff for the other ones. Get your phone on me.
Go a lot further that way. Keep going. Bring it back just a little bit. Right.
To the center, basically.
This way.
Here, lift it up. That's good.
And then the diagonal center to center should be
30.
34.
It was outside. Wasn't it?
No. Yeah, I think
to that side. Yeah. All 4 posts are in. So now what we're gonna have to do is just get the ones in the middle of those 4 posts. And then this is just the woodshed half. So we're gonna have another half that comes out this way. That's gonna be for the sawmill and the solar kiln. But that's not gonna be done with posts like this. That's gonna be done differently. So we at least have half of our footprint all laid out here. I think it looks pretty good. Wait, is this on the center or the, yeah. Telling the truth. Good.
That was good.
Woo! So we finished digging all of our holes, and then Cody just loaded up and got the rest of our poles that we needed. So now we're going to pick those up and stick them in all the holes and get this half, I guess, pretty much not framed. Yeah, basically framed. So we're going to finish getting all the poles in on this half of the woodshed side. It did rain, so everything's a little bit wet, and it is like 9 o'clock at night, so there's a lot of mosquitoes out right now. So we're going to try to get this done pretty quick. Yeah, it did rain, but there's no puddles because we're down to gravel. Feels great. Well, 2 days and we got all these holes dug and posts put in. Assuming we finish it tonight. We ended up calling it early last night and we didn't quite finish putting all of these posts in. We just have these last 5 to do, but what happened is Cody came through and marked where all the posts go, and then I came through later and I dug the holes, and we didn't really communicate that well because I thought that where he marked them was just dead center of where the pole was supposed to go, but he marked on the outside so that all the poles would get dug just inside of the mark. So that means that we just have to dig each hole a little bit wider, kind of bring it in, which is fine. It's just gonna take a little bit more time, and we were just tired last night, so we figured we'd hold off, wait until today, and then this way there's also not nearly as many mosquitoes out here because they were out last night. All right, holes are dug again. So now we're gonna put in the last 5 posts and be done with, I guess, this half of the main beams and framing.
Now, before we do any more with that side, we're doing this, the logs and the platform first.
I think so, yeah.
I've got our first tree down for our woodshed build. I am planning on doing a log base, so I need 3 logs. and they need to be 32 feet long. So I got this cut to 32 feet in here. I have no clue how I'm going to figure out how to move that. It's going to be far too heavy for me to lift the back end into the side-by-side, but I'm hoping that somehow I can get the back into the side-by-side and then just drag it out of here. But I'm not really sure. The base of this tree was actually really big. It's bigger than I needed for that foundation, so I took two 10-foot sections off the bottom, and I'm not even sure I can move those, honestly. So I'm going to try and budge that, and then we'll see what we have to do, if I can lift it up or not. I'm on the hunt for big logs to be able to do that 32-foot span, and big enough to support that platform for the sawmill and the solar kiln, but I am having a hard time finding trees big enough to do that. There's not too many left on the property that are dead already, but I did find one here, and I already pushed a trail with the side-by-side to see if I could actually get to it, and we're going to take it down and get it drug. This tree is actually too big for what I need, so I'm going to take off at least one 10-foot section off the bottom, if not two, and then I'll get my 32-foot length out of it. I'm just taking off a little bit off the bottom because there's just a little bit of rot around the sapwood area, so taking that off, and then I'll be able to keep it from milling. I remembered at the last minute, just before I started my 10-foot cut, that I actually need a really big 18-foot beam for the opening of the sawmill. I think for snow load it should be something like 6 by 12, if not 8 by 12. And I think what we plan on doing is doing a 6 by as wide as I can get it, and this is a good candidate for it. Alright, so that end is actually 13.5, so it doesn't lose that much. So I might be able to get a 6 by 12 out of it. It depends on how much, how flat that top is when I go to cut that. I might have a little bit of, I think it's called wainscoting, but live edge on the corners, but that'll be perfectly fine by me. If need be, I can hide that up in the top where it gets covered anyway. So this is going to be a perfect log for that. I really didn't think I was going to find one big enough for that in these woods, so that's pretty exciting. But now we get to try and put that A-frame to the real test and try and get some big logs out. 18 foot and 32 foot. I just measured the 18 foot one, of course, and that one on the small end is 13.5, which means on the big end of the 32 foot it's 13.5, probably next down to like, I don't know, probably 9 inches at the other end. So that's a lot of weight that I'm gonna have to get out of here with the side-by-side, so we'll see how that goes. And I gotta work around this stump because my path is that way. Well, I couldn't get any closer because of this stump, so it's as close as I could get. I chained it way to the top so that hopefully I'll lift it high and I can prop something underneath it and then re-hook up and keep on pulling. Hopefully this will hold up and get this big log up here. Come on. Alright, I changed the hook up a little bit. I still am tied up at the top, but I moved my chain for the log down at the cross section of the A. I think that will reduce the amount of pressure and weight on this rope, and hopefully I'll be able to lift it up easier. And that's the extent of the winch, so I gotta see if I can get this over. I wonder if I can just pull on it. It's working on it. Oh. Okay. I'm not high enough, which means I needed to chain farther back on this. All right, so I braced it on that log down there and rechained, moved my A back a little bit, got the winch hooked back up, and now I'm going to crank it back up, see if we can get it up here. Alright, being I'm stuck on that, I'm going to pull forward just a touch. It'll pull it forward and it'll pull me forward, so it should kind of lift it up more without losing ground. Now that it's on here, I can just skid it. Up, pull it as far as I can so I got less weight dragging and more on wheels. Makes it easier for me. There's a spot on the way out that I'm a little worried about getting up. It's a steep spot, but it's only like maybe 3 foot high, so it's not too tall, but it's like straight up. So I gotta get a lot of momentum to get over it. Problem is, if I use momentum to get over it, I don't want to go too far because it's crossing onto the driveway where I have to make a sharp turn immediately after. So I'm not sure how well it's gonna go. Now, being hooked on this loop, I can take my excess chain off of it and hook it on that top bar, and it shouldn't go anywhere. Now I'll let my winch loose. Now I think we're good to go. We'll see how we go. This is the hill I'm worried about getting up. It's a little less steep over here. I might be able to get up, but I got to turn this way. So immediately after getting up this bump, I've got to turn up this driveway. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, it's heavy, I can tell. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh. That's okay. You got it, keep going. Woo! The gas fell out and the chainsaw tipped over, but I think we can make it. He's gonna come back to get us. I don't even know if you can see it or not. Looking a little bit different tonight.
A lot of bugs.
Yeah, there's so many bugs.
Made the dog run so that we wouldn't crush anything this time.
Yeah. Dog's running ahead. A good ways ahead, but she's there. We don't like the bug net, but it's helpful. Downside is that this end's gonna have to get moved So I think our plan with these big logs is we're just gonna roll them into place like we did with that one, and then we're gonna try to figure out where it's mostly level on the top, and we're gonna lift up the skinny side of the log to kind of get it level, and then we'll just kind of put some other stuff underneath it to hold it up in place. being that it's on gravel, I don't think either of us are really worried about it sitting directly on the ground and rotting away. We have a neighbor just across the street from us, across the trail, a little ways, and they have a cabin that's built on logs just like this, directly into like the actual dirt. So it is just sitting directly in water, and they've had that for years, and it's doing just fine. It's not rotting away or anything. So especially now that we're down to gravel, I don't think that's a concern for us right now. Well, you might have to go down just a little bit, so just give me a second. It looks like it angles up quite a bit. Just up a little bit. That doesn't look very secure at all. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to show that the log's not perfectly straight, but we'll get it pretty close.
Alright.
Do you not want to put one on the very end?
Yeah, we can add it later.
Are you supposed to be standing on that?
Like a big swing. Woo.
Yeah. It's like this whole thing's kind of sketchy.
Why? Look at it. See, I don't even have to hold it. And don't stand there. What if it falls?
Well, Cody, what do you want me to do?
See if I'm high enough about where the chain is.
Well, that's going to be hard to do.
Stand over there.
We have to
this way.
eyeball it then, though. It's just eyeballing it. I don't know if I would say you'd probably have about 2 more inches to go up.
Okay. We'll get it close and then we'll put a level on it and figure it out.
Here you go that way. Ooh, it just needs to go down a little bit. And not even that much.
I'm on a nub here.
Well, now it needs to go down a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, we finished getting all 3 logs in place and leveled, but we're gonna redo it all. So looking at it, and we had this discussion when we put that first one in there, if we would have rotated that log and had the skinny end here and the fat end here instead of the other way, we might not have had to lift it up whatsoever. And then, you know, just the chain reaction going down. So we're going to, well, basically this first one and this last one have to get flipped around 180, and then this one's gonna have to get dropped because it doesn't need to be that high anymore then. So it just means we have to reset all 3 of them. But now's the time to do it if we're gonna make the change. Someone's just not very happy about that.
Flipping those logs around wasn't nearly as hard as I expected it to be. We were able to just chain them up and drag them around in a loop, and they came right back perfectly fine. And they ended up being a lot better put this way. I did not have to lift these nearly as high, so it went much quicker. I don't have to use any of the wood chunks to hold them up. I just have to put in a few little rocks to keep it in place, and I'll be adding a few more in on this last one. And then I got to cut this first one here to length. It is a little long over there. Otherwise, next step is to start framing up the floor. So we'll frame up the floor and get it planked, but that's going to wait till next video because we are going fishing.